Hello, all of my subscribers and dear friends. I thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope that you'll stick around and see what I have to say. My name's Shelby. I focus on missing persons here on my channel, and you are currently watching an episode of my Unresolved Disappearance series. So today we are going to talk about a young lady by the name of Karen Beth Kamsch. She went missing in 1976 in Pasadena, Maryland. She was 14 years old, 5 foot tall, and 110 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. Karen was a straight A student who actually got to surpass the 6th grade, so she was in 7th grade a year early, and she was having some trouble at home, and she was hanging out with some of the bad kids, and she was running away from time to time. Now, Karen was having those issues at home, and she decided she wanted to go live with her grandmother, Olga, at the Wishing Rock Road address. So this is the address that she went missing from. Karen's grandmother says she noticed that Karen was missing after the school called about her absences during the winter of 1976. So according to school officials, Karen attended Brooklyn Park Senior High School at least through June. So from June to October, we kind of have like a void, and I'm not exactly sure, and investigators aren't sure where Karen is through that time frame. Now, even though Karen's grandmother says she went missing in the winter months of 76, Karen's winter coat was still in her room, as well as all of her personal belongings. So for Karen to have run away from home, I really see it as unlikely, because she would have at least taken her winter coat. Karen's grandmother, Olga, originally said that it was her and Karen's father, George, who made the missing persons report at the time she went missing. Karen's younger brother, Tate, actually contacted the authorities in 2007 to see if anything new had developed in Karen's case, and they told him that they didn't have any record of Karen ever being missing. So May 15th of 2007 is when the actual missing persons report was filed for Karen's case. Now, Karen's grandmother, Olga's neighbor, Beatrice Hasseni, said she remembered seeing a large number of cars parked outside of the Kamsch home one day in the late 1970s. She said that Olga appeared to be crying, and Beatrice asked her, "Do you need any help? Is something wrong?" And Olga told her that Karen had ran away from home. And Beatrice said that it seemed like there was no big deal made of it at the time. Over the years, she would ask Olga if anything new had come of it, and Olga would just say, quote, "No one has heard from her." And Beatrice said, quote, "There was nothing to elaborate on, I guess." Sergeant Rich Albin is a Anne Arundel County homicide detective, and he said, "This one is unusual. To have someone come forward 31 years later and ask us where his sister is, and there's nothing to indicate she was ever missing. It's like she fell off the face of the earth." So, the investigation. The investigator spoke with family members, some who would cooperate and some didn't cooperate or talk at all. The ones who cooperated said that they had reason to believe Karen was being abused at the time she went missing. Now, they said they considered the abuser a person of interest, and although they did not specify who the person is, they had scattered clues in various articles that narrowed it down considerably, saying it would be someone she would have left home to get away from, and someone who would have access to her paternal grandmother's home. So her grandmother, Olga, was her father's mother. When they finally did a search, it was August 29th, 2007. They did a massive 12-hour search on Olga's property, which Karen's uncle and aunt now lived at. They brought in cadaver dogs to search the property, and the dogs led them to a capped well. Now, when they searched the well, which was 20 foot deep, they found 5 foot of debris. They did not elaborate on what was found, other than to say there were items that one wouldn't expect to see after sitting in a well for 30 years in water. Now, they sent it off to forensic examiners, and nothing ever came of that publicly. So whether or not they found anything to aid in the prosecution of A perpetrator? We don't know. Karen's parents never commented or talked to anyone about her disappearance. Lieutenant David Waltmeyer, the assistant commander of the agency's Criminal Investigations Division, said that some family members were cooperating and some were not. He said, "We have a person of interest we've spoken to and will speak further to. We think there's definitely a person out there who knows what happened and is living with a secret. If Karen's out there, she needs to be laid to rest." So, Karen's aunt and uncle, actually, I said, are living in Olga's old home. They were asked by reporters to make any sort of statement, and they were told by investigators not to speak about it because the investigation is ongoing. Now, I find it funny that the person of interest they had spoken to would speak further to, and the person of interest would be close to her and have access to the paternal grandmother's home. Now, if they didn't speak to Karen's father, then who did they speak with that is a person of interest and would have access to the paternal grandmother's home? I think you guys can now figure that out. So, I spoke with Karen's younger brother, Tate, and he gave me the good graces to make this video. When Tate was interviewed by reporters, he said, "I just really want to know what happened to my sister. I hope she's still living and just wanted to get away from it all. It's always been in the back of my mind, but it's been like nobody mentions it." When reporters asked whether he believed that a relative knows what happened, Tate paused for several seconds and then said, "More than likely." So until we know exactly what was found in that well, we can only speculate about the person close to Karen that was abusing her. Nothing has been reported since May of 2014, and that was just a general plea, a cry for help, saying, if anybody knows anything, please come forward. It didn't say anything about the search, the abuse. It only stated that her disappearance is suspicious in nature. Why wasn't anyone contacting the police over the years to try to see until 30 years later? Why was it 30 years later that they were finally contacted? Now, Tate was young when this happened to Karen, so I don't blame him at all. He was told by his grandmother that they had a missing persons report on file and that they were doing something about it. That's all he knew. He didn't know anything else. It wasn't Tate's responsibility to check over through the years, his teenage years, his young adult years, and try to see what was happening with his sister. It was Karen's parents' responsibility and Karen's grandmother's responsibility until she passed away in '99, and Karen's parents are actually still living. Another thing I'd like to know is what year was that well capped? It would be really interesting to figure out that the year that well was capped directly after she went missing, but I'm not exactly sure how we would ever figure that out. If you have any new leads in this investigation or any pieces of information, even if you think that they're insignificant, please contact Detective Jason DiPietro at 410-222-8050. He's with the Anne Arundel County Police Department, and he is a detective assigned to this case. The agency case number is 077-19714. I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening to this, and I hope that I did Karen justice. I hope that you guys will share this video, comment down below any thoughts. Like I said before, make sure that you subscribe so that you can see all of my new videos in the series. And you guys are awesome. I'm growing every day on this channel, and I hope to make plenty of new friends here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you later. So one last thing that I forgot to mention, and I'm adding in as I'm editing, is that the reason that they are probably not coming out publicly and saying what they found in the well is that they are most likely working on their evidence behind closed doors, and they're waiting to bring it all up to the suspect when it is strong enough. And they may also be waiting for their suspect to make a wrong move, and then they're going to go in with their case.